How's it going, folks? It's Rob here, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a tour of the Naughty Goat Permaculture Farm west of Ipswich in Queensland, Australia. So as you can tell, my words didn't quite match up with the video there. So we had a microphone malfunction while I was out there doing the walk around. So I'll do my best to do a bit of an overdub for the first 3 or 4 minutes so of the video. Let's get into it. So as the name suggests, Hamish and Nicole keep goats on the farm. In particular, they are raising Nubian goats, and I believe they've all got papers as well. They're a pure breed bloodline. Now, the male at the moment has got his apron of shame on. Basically, they pee on themselves, which makes one heck of a stink, according to H. So they put this apron on them to stop them peeing on themselves, and it also stops them from constantly breeding with the females as well, which is another bonus when you can only keep a flock of a limited size. Now, these guys keep the goats primarily for soap making. They make a fantastic gentle soap, a number of different varieties. In fact, it was being used and given out at an oncology unit from memory. H has actually offered everyone who wants to sample some of their product a 15% off code to the end of October. All you need to do is add in the code ROBBOB on checkout and you'll get 15% off your order. Absolutely fantastic product. Enough of spruiking their wares though. The main reason I wanted to come down was to check out the new composting system H has been working on. It would have been great to have him chatting through the whole system with us, but he's just a little bit too crook, unfortunately. So what he's done is he's picked up a compost tumbler off of Marketplace, I believe, and he's been using that to quickly compost horse bedding material and horse manure that he's collected from the local stables. And he's using the compost that he makes from the tumbler into a product that he's going to use to revitalise or regenerate the soil on his property here. Now, the composter itself has a little motor and a timer, and it comes on, I believe, 5 minutes every hour or so, just to tumble and put some air through the compost. And from memory, H says he lets it tumble and cook for about a week or so, and then there's a resting period before he then empties it out and applies it to the ground around the farm. The other thing H is making to add into the compost to improve it a bit is biochar. He's got quite a bit of a stockpile at the moment that he's already created. He runs that through a garden mulcher that has a couple of magnets attached to the outside because he is making his biochar out of pellets, so any nails he misses are caught by the magnets. And that creates just a smaller little char size, so you're basically increasing the surface area, and that is then added in with the horse manure to be composted. He was telling me that he's approached a couple of local restaurants and cafes, and he's hoping to get some more kitchen scraps that he can add in there as well to add in a more varied biomass into the mix, so the finished product will even be more nutrient dense for the soil. He's also making slow compost as well, which is basically piling up the material and letting it cook in situ. And it does take a little bit longer to do, but we've used the same method in the past and it does make fantastic compost if you have the time. H has found that their piles are getting up to around about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Celsius within a couple of days. And he's really impressed with just how well it's breaking down. So what they do is down the bottom they have a layer of the bedding material and manure, and then what they do is they add in a layer of char as well and build it up that way until it's sitting up over the top. And then as it cooks, he has one here, he's got some tools and bits and pieces on. It ends up falling down to the much lower level below the lip over time. So they're definitely making a lot of compost here. And again, as I said, it just goes all out onto the paddock. Definitely getting a lot more manure and bedding than they can process in that little tumbler. And as for the char, it's been made out of these recycled pellets. There we go, that's how they come, just wrapped up like that. And that's what he's basically using as a feed source in his little char pit here. It's a pretty simple process. He feeds the fire in layers, so it's always burning at the top and not down the bottom. He did explain it to me. He could do it better, but he's feeling a bit under the weather at the moment. So this method of making the biochar isn't something Hamish has come up with. He actually saw it on another Aussie's YouTube channel, Farming Life Australia. I think from memory H said it was, but I'll put a link down below if you want to see it. A lot of people do it a lot differently than this. They use retorts and all sorts of things, but this is the way that H is doing it just for now. He does have that larger kiln kiln setup that he did say that we could have, but yeah, we've said he should pretty much all keep it. When he scales up, gets his tractor delivered, he'll be moving it into position and making a lot more biochar with that. For now though, this is just a nice simple method that he can use. This system is just so much easier because it's here next to where the compost is and just in front of the compost tumbler itself, so a lot easier to make it this way just for now than running to the back of the property and whatnot. So hopefully I'll be back down in southeast Queensland when H is feeling a bit better, and we might actually see this in action and watch the process. Might give a few of you folks a bit of an idea who are on a larger block and are looking at adding some fertility back into your paddocks. While we're here, I thought I'd give you a bit of a look at the geese. And we've got a couple of goslings up the back there. So I think there was 3 or 4 of them before. Oh yeah, there's another one hiding behind mum there. So yeah, a couple of new babies on the farm. So we might say goodbye to the geese and go check out the bananas on the way to the aquaponics. You can definitely tell it's spring. All the mangoes are in flower, and so are the bananas. A nice bunch there, a couple more bunches there, and there's a load over on the other side up Banana Alley. They are looking a little bit worse for wear at the moment, but that's because we're leaving winter, coming into spring, and they do get a few frosts out here. So H was saying that he was going to give them a bit of a tidy up when he's feeling a little bit better, but for now, you know, they must be getting a decent amount of nutrition because they're putting on some nice bunches like this. And I think this clump here is the one that gave us the banana harvest video for the short that we posted a while back. So this one is going to be a massive bunch of bananas, more hands forming. It hasn't stopped producing little fruit, like I'll show you on one a little bit further up. So yeah, he said all through winter they were flowering, not as prolifically as through summer, but loads. Also love how they're using the understory of the bananas to plant out things like coffee, some comfrey, and there's also some pineapples over here as well, just to make use of the layers that they're creating. And as you can see, the bananas must love it because they've got more suckers coming up over the back there. Up beside the aquaponics, there are a load of mangoes. They're only a couple of years old, so it'll be interesting to see how much fruit they get off these ones this year. But enough of that. Into the aquaponics before we look at the bees and some stuff out the back. So this is the aquaponics system where our fish ended up when we sort of shut down our last aquaponics system. As you can see, the beds are doing really well. There's a mix of everything in here. They rotate through the greens, the salads, the tomatoes, and they're only just starting to come into bloom at the moment. Nasturtiums through there, some strawberries over the back. I think that's pineapple sage and growing at the end there. And then up here, it's again, they're just a mixed bag of grow beds. That's the way I like it, a little bit of everything. They've even got some ornamentals in there. I'd say that's a cutting they popped in. The tomatoes, some of them don't make it through winter. But then again, you look down here and you've got some nice new growth coming in. And the lettuce as well. Over here, it looks like they got the last of their winter brassicas, if you can call it winter, what we get here. And again, just more tomatoes and some cuttings. H was saying that they had a warm spell a couple of weeks back, and since that warm spell the fish have just been smashing the feed again. So I'll just have a little peek under here and see if we can see them. I don't have my underwater cam today, unfortunately, folks. There we go, there's the fish. So those are the guys that were brought down as fingerlings for H towards the start of winter. They went off their feed for a while, so now things have warmed up, the feed rate will increase, they'll start to put on their size, and yeah, they'll be harvested by the end of the season. And don't forget, there are the other videos of Hamish's system. You can check them out up there. And while I'm at it, spruik some of my own wares. I still am selling the Backyard Aquaponics Beginner's Guide, $19.95 US. It is an online learning guide for you folks who are new to aquaponics, want to know what it's about, and it gives you a couple of ideas for creating your own system. Goes through a complete build for a recycled IBC system, shows you how to make some components and also filters and whatnot, how to plant out your plants, what plants to select, and that sort of thing. So do check it out. There will be a link at the end of the video and also down in the description. Now back to the aquaponics. He said the filters, twin filters, are still working really well. He's got to do a bit of a top up. We're out here just looking at a few bits and pieces earlier, and they've already planned for a new inline fingerling system to go in. They were using this little tank up here, but at the moment that's just being used as a bit of a nursery for bits and pieces. We've got some more mangoes and different mulberries to go out, and we think that's a native raspberry. That's something that Nicole's bought, but this tank here will end up being their little fingerling tank with a cover over it, of course, and it'll just feed directly into this line here. That's the plans they have for their aquaponics system. This other one on the side here, they're not quite ready to set that one up, but yeah, they just want to finish off this one first, so it's a complete cyclical thing. Have fish on the grow out, fingerlings in there, 2 different sizes at once, and then they'll start up their other one. So I've also got random citrus everywhere, and down this side of the aquaponics, some more mangoes and some more bananas. For you uninitiated with bananas, there comes a point where the fruit stops forming and you don't get any more set down the flower, but in the bell you still get little flowers like this. But these flowers still attract the beneficials like the native bees and bats and things like that into the yard, so I don't like to cut them off. Some people suggest that you should, other people will cut them off and eat them. We tried doing that a few times. Maybe as a survival food I'd do it again, but it's not something that I particularly enjoyed. And you can see up over the tank there we have a ripe bunch to come off, and another bunch that should be ready fairly soon by the look of it. And down the back we have the collection of hives. So H has said he's had a number of swarms created from his existing hives, so he's been capturing them, putting them in new hives and dotting them around the property. Down along the back here we have mulberry row. I was actually greeted at the fence by their youngest saying, "Uncle Rob, we have a jar of jam for you." They have more than a jar of jam. They have loads of mulberries on at the moment. Don't know how well the camera's picking them up, but the fruit is loaded up the top there where they can't get them. And of course the inevitable happens, local birds get some, they fall on the ground as well. But all the way down here is just mulberry, so they will have a few bottles of mulberry jam for us, I think, down the line, not just what we're going home with today. Of course, they've also got their existing wicking beds pumping out the produce. Some stinging nettles there by the look of it, definitely something I'm not a fan of. We've got some peas, some courgettes, and it looks like they're getting ready for some spring plantings. So I've just come out to check out the orchard. I think someone thinks it's feeding time, or a couple of them think it's feeding time. Sorry, fellas. But this is their little orchard, and they've got little mobile chicken pens with the different breeds of chickens in them, and the chickens are pretty much all isolated into their breeds in different tractors and whatnot. The orchard, loads of bees on the flowers. There's some of these trees, actually all these trees I think predate Hamish and Nicole buying the property, and they've slowly been doing the ground up over the years. I think this is where our mandarins came from. Sorry chooks, I won't hassle you. And over the back here are some new mulberry trees because they don't have enough, and all the hives that H has split the swarms in, or popped the swarms into. So they're all out here along this back fence. He's going to set up the area properly once he gets the time. And this is just the straw deep litter method they use on the base of the orchard. And I dare say a lot of that compost that you saw being made will end up out here. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but these guys are virtually off-grid. They have the solar on the roof there and on the shed. Don't know if you can make it out, but the whole top of that shed, past the carport, is filled with panels. So much so that they can recharge both the cars, just using the power from here, plus run the house. And of course they got a nice solar hot water system there as well. Absolutely fantastic setup.
The house is currently consuming 3.6 kilowatts because that's we've got a secondary water heater that comes on at midday. Okay. The 2 electric cars are fully charged at the moment. Well, this one's fully charged, this one's not here. And we're producing 11.5 kilowatts out of our solar at the moment, and there's 7.9 kilowatts going back to the grid.
So have you ever run your batteries dry?
No.
No.
The batteries out there is, I think I calculated something like 130 kilowatts or 140 kilowatts of usable power. That's to a 50% depth of discharge.
They're a lead battery?
Yeah.
So back in the shade of the banana row now. So yeah, there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed this little bit of a tour of Hamish and Nicole's Naughty Goat Farm. Again, thank you very much, Hamish. I know you're not feeling too crash hot today, a little bit under the weather. Otherwise you would have been out here nattering along with us, but there you go. I do hope you like this sort of content, and do let us know if you would like to see more about the composting, and I'll ask H nicely if you'd like to invite us along when he makes a batch when I'm down next. And also too, anyone in southeast Queensland who would like to show off your little urban or small acreage farm, I'd be interested in having a bit of a gander, looking at what you've got going on aquaponics wise, soil regeneration and that sort of thing. They're my main passions at the moment, a bit of regen farming. So yeah, hit us up and might be able to bring the camera out and show off what you got growing on. But we'll leave it there. Thanks again to H and Nicole and the boys, and we will catch you next video. Cheers all, have a top one.